What's up, humans? How's it hanging? I'm the Nerdy Beard, and welcome back to World of Warplanes. Now, it has been a little bit of time since my last video, and I do apologize for that, guys. The real life thing has been crazy at the moment, but I've definitely missed playing World of Warplanes, and I've definitely missed making videos for you guys, so I'm going to make a real good effort now to make sure I get at least one good video out a week, hopefully two, maybe I can get one out on the weekend. Because I miss it, man. I was sitting around, every night when I get home from work in the real life. It's just, oh, you know what? I'd love to play some planes right now, but I'm too tired. So I'm going to make a much more of an effort to hopefully get some good grinding done. I haven't done a whole lot lately. As you can see, I'm going to be displaying a Tier 4 aircraft today. And hopefully get a little bit of streaming done as well. I've recently had some interest from some people watching my videos into maybe doing some Twitch streaming and offering some advice sort of on the fly, as it were, for people watching. So that's definitely something I'm going to look into, and we'll hopefully have a schedule out for you soon. Okay, so let's get into today's video. I will be featuring the Japanese Tier 4 fighter, the Ki-43I, Hayabusa, I imagine you would say it. Now, this aircraft, they're Tiers 1 to 3, you know, it doesn't really matter. You can get through them in about an hour's grind if you're even reasonably competent. But the Tier 3 wasn't too bad, and I was expecting good things from this aircraft based on my experience with the other line of Japanese fighters, if I just get it up here. So this line here has been an absolute blast. I'm very much enjoy these aircraft, and you see I've kept the Tier 5, and I'm currently working through the Tier 6, having a really good time in them. And the fact that they don't survive very well is offset quite well by the fact that they've got good guns, and they turn fantastically well. So now we get into the, oops, let me just get this back up. No, Japan, yep, there we go. Let's into the second line of fighters. So this is the consistent line all the way down through to Tier 10, staying as fighters. And I thought, surely they're going to be fairly similar. There might be some slight differences. Maybe this line here is a little bit faster than this one, or they don't turn so well, but they've got better guns. So I thought I'd give it a go. And looking at the first few aircraft, the maneuverability scores are fantastic. They're right up there with their equivalent partner. So now we get into the Tier 4. Now, this aircraft, I'm sorry to say, is garbage. I cannot get this thing to work for me at all. And maybe it's just my particular playstyle. Maybe I spend too long in a straight line. But when I've gotten good scores in just about every other aircraft I've flown, I was fully expecting this to be another gem sitting at Tier 4 in those lower tiers. Good credit earner, nice and easy experience. But I have to say, this thing has been an absolute struggle. And I had really high hopes for it, considering this maneuverability score of 98. This thing literally turns around on the spot. It is phenomenal. But there are lots of other things you need to take into account. The fact that this thing can't even survive a stiff breeze coming at it from the opposite direction. It will blow up. Even, a round comes near your aircraft. It doesn't even need to hit. This thing is going down. It is very, very, very soft-skinned. And it does not take much to put this thing into the ground. It's just, yeah, it's very difficult to get involved in the game, and very difficult to be hitting your targets consistently well when you're constantly having to worry about even just some stray flak from the ground. This thing, it just damages it really, really quickly. And another thing to definitely take into account, and hopefully we can get an example of it in the gameplay coming up, do not sit behind any heavy aircraft or attack aircraft that has a tail gun. This aircraft will be absolutely shredded even by a single machine gun pointing backwards towards it. It is, it's just not an aircraft that you can take on those bigger things. But we'll get into that during the gameplay. So, gun armament of 7. It's not too bad. The initial pair of machine guns, you can see they're synchronized in here with the propeller. The initial machine guns are garbage. You may as well open the window and throw rocks at the aircraft in front of you, because those, I think they're 7, let me have, no service, let me have a look here. Yeah, the 7.7mm machine guns, these things are rubbish. They do not put out much damage at all. The only thing that goes for them is it's almost impossible to overheat them. But you're still going to look like you're going to get close, because the amount of rounds you have to fire forwards basically means you're going to be firing at your target for a long time, even if it's a very light-skinned, even defensive aircraft. The 12.7mm machine guns were better. I have to say they were much better. They actually felt like you were hitting something when you were firing forwards, and I'm currently using the 20mm cannons. They do some good damage quite quickly, but they overheat very, very quickly. So it's really up to your own personal playstyle. If you feel more comfortable getting huge amounts of ammunition firing forwards and securing your kill that way, then I definitely recommend you go with the machine guns. If you feel like you're quite accurate and you're happy to do lots of turns and you're not really interested in taking down your target straight away, then go with the cannons. I went, obviously, as with every other video, I went straight with the body upgrade. It didn't really afford me much in the way of protection or airspeed, but it's there, so it's better than the original. And obviously, the two upgrades to the engines here, I have the more powerful engine. Okay, into the service, and as with every other video, it's the universal ammunition. Doesn't cost too much, and you can definitely make that money back if you have a reasonably good game. I haven't found that I've lost the pilot too often in this aircraft, so I'm going with the usual three: the extinguishers, the restarter, and the control surface trim. Pretty much with this aircraft, though, you really tend to use these very often, because if you've gotten damaged enough to need to use your surface trim, you're probably at about 10 hit points and you're about to die anyway. Likewise, if you get set on fire, it's over. Pretty much by the time you've even realized you're on fire and you've gone to hit that key to set that extinguisher off, more than likely the enemy is still behind you and you're dead. So yeah, you don't really spend too much money on consumables in this aircraft. Yeah, I know I'm smashing it pretty hard, guys, but that's pretty much I want to be as honest as I can with you, and I haven't really had a good time, I have to be honest, in this aircraft. So that's pretty much it here in the hangar. I think we will go through some maneuverability and some airspeed features when we get into the battle. Alrighty guys, I'll catch you in a sec. Alrighty, we are in game, and you can see already I spawned at just over 1 kilometer off the ground, and I am outside of this vehicle's optimum range, optimum altitude I should say. This aircraft does not like being over 700 meters off the ground, which is pretty average. And you can see here my airspeed. I haven't boosted, and the airspeed is, yeah, it's alright, but if you need to get anywhere, it's going to take you a long time. But I will actually note that, okay, I'm descending here, hit the boost. You've only got 6 seconds, but the acceleration on this boost is excellent. So look at that, I'm just over 100 k's an hour, which is brilliant. So that's very, very good to use to get out of trouble. Certainly don't bother chasing anything up into the air. Let's see if we can, probably chatting a bit there, missed my opportunity, but we're going to show off these guns now. Now look how quickly they overheated. That is pretty rubbish. My accuracy wasn't great there. I was concentrating on the airspeed more so than anything else, but yeah, that's just not cool. And yeah, look at that, a few hits from the defensive aircraft there, and I've already lost all those hit points. So let's see if we can get this guy out and hopefully get towards capturing this point before the enemy arrive. But to showcase a good feature, this aircraft is excellently maneuverable. Look, I'm not even trying to stay behind this guy, and it's just sitting there. And I'm just slowing down. I'm just holding the S key to just slow myself down a little bit, just to get behind it and affect those that kill. So yeah, the DPS is probably the best way to say the damage per second of this aircraft is absolutely garbage. You can see there a handful of shots, and the cannons were effectively useless, and they were firing at just slower than 1 round per second once they overheat, which you can't do anything with at all. So to recap that little moment there while we were attacking, it is pretty much an excellent boost speed, very, very good acceleration. Use it to escape when you've got somebody on your back who's looking to shoot you down. Pretty much don't bother using it to get any height, because this aircraft hates being over 700 meters off the ground. Good, got some assistance damage there. Oh, he's coming, that's going to hurt. Oh, that would have been close. Okay, and, yep, cop that. That hurt. Alright, and we're just going to showcase just how long it takes to get rid of a heavy aircraft here. Oh, I'm getting hammered. Okay, so into the boost and going down and underneath. So I've just survived by the skin of my teeth, but I have, what is that? Looks like a Bristol something. I can't quite see because I'm moving my mouse around to get behind this guy. But look at the maneuverability. It just doesn't even seem fair. Very much like the Zeros. I haven't even deployed flaps, and this guy is history. Yeah, haven't even deployed flaps. But the flip side of that is I am only on 3 hit points. So anything, a stiff breeze is going to knock me out of the sky. So pretty much I'll just try and do as much damage as I can here. That guy looks a bit tunnel visioned. I'll get in behind him. Okay, and hope that I can get some damage done to this guy, because these guns just are not friendly at all. And yep, someone from above me. And that's gone. Okay, cool. Yeah, so to recap that little moment there, don't use the boost to go vertical, because the aircraft just hates being above 700 meters. excellent turning circle. You saw for yourself there. I wasn't even trying. I wasn't boosting. I wasn't slowing down, and I wasn't using the flaps to turn the aircraft there. And it just sort of loped around in a circle there, and basically I had all the advantage. So that's probably something to consider. Get behind your aircraft where you can. Don't bother shooting the attack aircraft or the heavy fighters. Just you're not going to do enough damage to them. If you wish to play with machine guns, maybe it might be an option for you. But do remember that you are going to be sitting in a straight line for a long time. And you can see there that even just stray shots as I was passing, this aircraft was receiving a huge amount of damage. Okay, so that's pretty much all that squared off. I'm going to see if we can get some work done here. Now I'm seeing that most of the enemy team are heading north there to the point we've capped, so we might take this opportunity to maybe steal the center off them. And did a little bit of damage there. Okay, managed to set a fire. That's good. So his engine capacity is lowered. And I am slowing this aircraft down just to get behind him. And there we go. Alright, excellent. Getting some points. This is good. Ooh, I am under anti-aircraft fire, so I'm just going to do a bit of a loop. And get a little bit close to this boomerang here, and we'll see what we can do with it. Okay, and you can see the guns, you know what, they're nice and straight. They're right, obviously, they're right in the middle of the aircraft behind the propeller, which does help if you've got a few concerns about your own accuracy, if you're not really confident with it. Just going to do another loop here, just to basically distract anybody who might be trying to shoot me. Okay, enemy on the tail. They all came back, so that's not cool. So I'm just trying to check. There he is. Someone was bugging me there. Okay, so this is a 0. We want to get rid of him as quick as possible. You can tell the usual Japanese airframe there didn't take long to get rid of him. Okay, and secured the first chevron. Fantastic. No, that's a bow fighter. I'm not even going to bother. Oh, enemy player. And I'm on fire. And, oh, did I get rounded? I'm not sure, actually. No, he seems to be pretty well intact. Maybe he just got lots of machine gun fire into me. Okay, so didn't quite go how we were planning. We didn't really take much off that middle section there. And if this aircraft wasn't so slow, it might even be worth coming down into here. But doing that solo, this aircraft just doesn't have the staying power to be able to take out a position by itself. Alright, so how are we sitting? Okay, whoever this is doing a huge job, and it looks like the only tier 5 in the game, so that is to be expected. Our tier 5s on both teams are absolutely kicking butt. That is awesome to see, and I would imagine, based on these guys' names, they are one of actual players. They're not the bots in this game, so that's great. And yeah, probably just based on that there, just one final point of this aircraft while the scoreline ticks down. Don't really expect to see yourself scoring well. I don't know whether that's just a feature of my games in it. I have played a few in it now, trying to obviously get it ready for a video. Just, you know, it's just difficult to find where to put this aircraft sometimes. You know, people see it and they just lick their lips. They know they're about to get an easy kill. And you can't do much about that, unfortunately. You just, you're basically flying a paper aeroplane. And yeah, to get good scores in this, everything really does need to go your way, and you need to be very lucky sometimes. As you can see, pilot's out. I've taken a huge amount of damage, and I think this game is just about over for me. Get my wings back in the game, and yeah, with the pilot dead, the accuracy of this aircraft is basically non-existent. And there it goes. Okay. So that was a bit of a disaster, but pretty much reflects exactly how this aircraft has been for me this entire time. Yeah, I honestly can't say that I enjoy it. I absolutely loathe it. It is terrible, and it is made. I don't know. It's probably. I don't know if anyone's familiar with World of Tanks, where you get those absolute stinkers, and they sit between tier 4 and tier 7. A lot of times it is the tier 7 that is awful, and you just lose a lot of your enthusiasm for playing it and for grinding that line. And yeah, any of you guys that do play World of Tanks, who know exactly what I talk about. You just can't really find any way to describe it other than just sigh and go and play another game. So yeah, that is the tier 4 fighter of the Japanese line there. If you are considering going down this line, I strongly recommend you don't and go to the zeros instead, because that will at least afford you some enjoyability. You'll love playing those aircraft. They are brilliant, and they seem to be in a completely different world to this particular one here. So enough on that. I'm going to jump back to the hangar and we'll have a look at the results and we'll wrap it up. See you in a sec, guys. Alrighty, and we are back in the hangar, and you can see there at tier 4 I even lost money. It was just an absolute howler, and I'm sure I didn't play up to my normal standard. I did feel a little bit slow and out of position in that whole game, but still came third there, and it did get a chevron. But look at these tier 5s, they were just in a completely different league. And this Bristol here, the Bristol 146, excellent aircraft, highly recommend it. It leads on to the Spitfires if anybody is interested. That is a great aircraft. So yeah, pretty much outlined everything that I was going to finish with in the game there before we jump back into the hangar. It's just not really that fun, to be honest, and it doesn't perform all that well. 4 kills and 4 assists. Basically, that is those cannons overheating. I will have. I'm probably going to switch back to the machine guns, to be honest. It's just difficult to do any real consistent damage with these cannons. You might be able to incorporate some ground attack perhaps into this, but realistically, if you're that low, any aircraft is just going to point its nose down and shoot you in the back anyway. Yeah, so if any of you guys have actually gone further along this line and can let me know any tips and tricks about how to make this line work, I'll be very much appreciative, because at this stage I just have absolutely no interest in going further down the line. I more than likely will. But as soon as I get past this tier 4, it is going in the bin. I'm going to sell it straight away, and I highly recommend you guys do too. Alrighty, that's about it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen, please give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. There will be lots more World of Warplanes content coming, and maybe a little bit of warships and some tanks in there a little bit. And also, check out some other games I have been playing recently. I'm looking to expand my horizons, as they say, and get some different content up on here as well. Alright guys, that's all from me. I'm the Nerdy Beard. Take it easy.